Hey folks, thanks for tuning in today. Funny thing happened after yesterday's video that I posted about Cali. People who seemingly consider themselves to be on a different team from me or something, despite us apparently agreeing on most things in this sphere, came along and posted dozens of comments showing how butthurt they are, and I'm not sure why somebody would actually be butthurt over something that doesn't affect them in any way, but they were saying, amongst other things, that I am copying and pasting the work of others by talking about this, but also that I should have posted more information in the video about Cali Diamond being sentenced to prison for killing another road user. So the person is saying that I'm both copying and pasting the work of others, but also not copying and pasting enough information. So you tell me if that makes any sense. Of course, the person also linked to their own video about the topic, lol, which I don't have a problem with. The comment is still there. But I don't know why some people are so hostile. You don't need to spend your time coming into other people's comments, swearing as if you're drunk and being rude under the guise of giving out nonsensical video making advice. Just get on with your creative thing and I'll get on with mine. It's all good. Of course, there were good reasons for me leaving out identifying information in yesterday's video. I was aware of the details that had been confirmed to some people by the court, and I even said that these people are not unreliable sources simply because they are unofficial sources. But I left out certain information from my video because I was waiting for my own confirmation from the court, not just about the details regarding the sentence and the charge, but also about whether there were any reporting restrictions. The purpose of my video yesterday was simply to advise my subscribers that it appeared that Cali had been sentenced for a crime of some kind and that the unofficial reports were that she had been sentenced to prison. Now, one of my close and trusted contacts has received information from Taunton Crown Court today and passed that information on to myself. The information from the court confirms that firstly the rumours are true. Jenny Ann Brearley, also known as Cali Diamond, was sentenced to 9 months imprisonment. The charge was causing death by careless driving. There doesn't appear to be any qualifier to that. It doesn't appear to be while under the influence or anything like that. And there was also an 18-month driving ban lopped onto it and a frankly insulting £140 victim surcharge that she needs to pay. Can you imagine being the family of the victim and hearing £140 is the victim surcharge? Now obviously I'd seen the court reference number and I'd seen the screenshots of emails that people had received, but I had to wait for confirmation of the details myself rather than going with screenshots from other people. If that's a reason to come into the comments crying about how upset you are, then so be it. But more importantly, I needed to clarify that there were no reporting restrictions before I put any identifying information into the video. That's not rocket science. The court clerk has confirmed that there are no reporting restrictions, so people are free to report this and discuss it until their hearts are content. So feel free to get in the comments and do just that. I was sent an interesting blog written by Spin vs Truth, which I have put in the description. I'm not affiliated with them at all, I've never spoken to them. There's a high chance they hate my videos, but I do enjoy their work and they do seem to put a lot of effort into their research, and I've been subbed to their channel for a long time. But the blog post raised some very interesting questions, and the first pertinent question that I think is on many people's lips is, why is there no mainstream coverage of this? There's been no mainstream coverage from what I can find. There are some local press reports that link to possible incidents that may or may not be the incident in question. I'm aware that people are trying to post them in the comments on my videos and finding that they disappear. Unfortunately, I'm not able to control that. It doesn't, for whatever reason, appear in my comment filter either, so I can't even okay it to go through. But feel free to keep trying. I've got no qualms about people posting things like that in the comments and discussing it as much as I like. I'm just not sure if what I've seen lines up with the potential date of the incident though, Correct me if I'm wrong, but supposedly this happened about 2 years prior to June 2020, if Cali's recollection on the Atwood podcast is actually correct.
It started 2 years ago. I had a car crash. Someone died.
I don't want to cover the victim in a video though, because it's just a sad story, and I don't want to get anything wrong, and I don't want to dredge it up for anyone who might know the victim. But that is what needs to be remembered here. There is a victim here, an innocent person who was going about their day and did not make it home at the end of the day because he was killed by Cali Diamond's criminally negligent driving. He would still be alive if it wasn't for her actions, and his family has lost him, and it is tragic, and it is angering. And it's not right to say that Cali is a victim here, as I've seen some people allude to. I do understand the need to have compassion, but an innocent man was killed due to negligent behaviour, and it appears that Cali doesn't care or doesn't take responsibility, based on her statements on the Sean Atwood podcast at least.
He's come out of nowhere, gone to overtake me, hit me on the other side of the road, come from my window and died. I've since been told that was set up. I don't know if it's just people playing with my head, but I've been told that was set up.
And that is pretty disgusting, and I think that's reflected in the general feeling by many that 9 months in prison is a very lenient sentence for this crime. So why so little, possibly zero, media coverage? Mainstream at least, but possibly otherwise. As the Spin v Truth blog points out, this is even more curious when you take into account the behaviour of both Mr Atwood and Ms Brearley since the incident, because they weren't exactly keeping a low profile, putting out videos into the public realm which depict recreations of abuse. I've covered that in other videos, I won't cover it here, but it is pretty mind-boggling that this whole thing just hasn't been picked up by the media. Another question that is asked in the blog is whether Mr Atwood knew about Cali's arrest and charges when he was soliciting donations from his audience for her, and whether this would have maybe been worth pointing out to the audience that she might have expensive legal fees coming up as well for killing a man, not just living expenses, which is what was asked for. Atwood certainly knew about the incident because Cali mentioned it on his podcast before they asked his audience to donate money to her. So why was it not mentioned as part of the GoFundMe that she would have legal expenses coming up? Maybe it wasn't relevant for whatever reason, but it's a question that's fair to ask because we haven't got an answer, and also because it was the public's money that went to Cali, and it's quite possible that people simply would not have donated if they'd known about this arrest and these charges. I've already pointed out that Cali says she and Mr Atwood were actually sleeping with each other at the time they were asking for donations, and this was certainly not mentioned to the audience. She was supposedly staying with him because she didn't have anywhere else to go. Now, some would say that them sleeping with each other is also an important detail that shouldn't have been kept from donors, so it does naturally make a person wonder if there's anything else that was left out. Another observation from the blog, which is something I also noticed, is the absolute lack of any update from Mr Atwood, not just about Cali's life since the GoFundMe ended, but the fact that he hasn't used his large platform to tell the donors and the rest of the audience that she's just been imprisoned for 9 months for killing someone in a car crash, and that she may have been paying for defence lawyers at the time of the GoFundMe. There's no mention of it on his channel, despite the fact that there's no reporting restrictions on this case, as has now been confirmed by the court. So you'd think that the people who donated the 5,300 and whatever pounds would be interested to know Cali is now in prison. They have Cali's well-being in their minds, these people. I've heard from many people who donated to that GoFundMe, and Cali's well-being was always the reason they put their hands in their pockets. These people wanted to help her, they wanted her to be okay, they deserve an update. But I wouldn't hold your breath, it's probably not going to happen, that is probably it. The donors have likely been forgotten, probably blocked and deleted, and replaced by a new wave of subscribers who are none the wiser when it comes to both Daddygate and this incident which has got Cali locked away for 9 months. Anyway folks, I'm going to leave that one there. Please feel free to get busy in the comment sections as always. There will be some debate about things, I'm sure, regarding things that I've said in this video. If you see anyone in the comments who's given out video making advice, take a look at their channel before actually taking that advice. That's my advice. And see if they're actually in a position to be dishing out said advice. But I will leave it there. I do welcome all comments. Also, smashing the like button helps me out massively. I'm on Odyssey as well, so please feel free to check out the channel over on odyssey.com and give it a sub. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers folks.